All right, hello wine drinking people. Today is Saturday, July 23rd. And, all the drinking that I do here in the store, in addition to that, and all the events I have planned, I get invited to these tastings on a regular basis. And there's only a few people that deserve my immediate attention, in my opinion, these tasting groups that exist in South Florida. And one of them, the Wine Wizards, one of them is definitely the Wine Wizards. These guys put on once-in-a-lifetime tastings almost every single tasting they do. And I've been to a couple of them, and wow, not to be missed. Well, this one was at Daniel Boulud's Bistro Moderne down in South Beach, and the theme was 95 plus rated Pinot Noirs and Chardonnay. And although it was from Robert Parker's the wine advocate, I think we had a few Wine Spectator 95 points. And when you're talking about putting a minimum threshold on press for a wine tasting, what you're really doing is elevating the price, because you don't find 95 plus rated Pinots and Chardonnays at below $100 for the most part. And if you're talking Burgundies, several of the wines on the table this evening were in the several $100 price range. All right, well, although this restaurant kind of a much more scaled down and casual version of the traditional kind of French restaurants that were opening up by these celebrity chefs 10 years ago, and a little bit more of a comfort food kind of feel to the place than haut cuisine. But the service was definitely haut cuisine, and this is what we expect from French-inspired restaurants. And the little added touch of putting all the plates down at the same time is really nice. Although it makes it a little easier when you all have the same course, when you have a pre-planned menu. Okay, well, the most impressive thing to me about this evening was the wine service, which is headed by Sergio Carneros, the assistant manager and sommelier for the evening. These guys had a glass for every wine, and they removed and reset them effortlessly throughout the course of the evening, and the pace was really nice and even. And Chef Gerard Zverbiak did a really nice job with the pairing menu. As I mentioned, a little bit more comfort food, as you notice, the side dishes of French fries that come out with your main course, and I'm a French fry nut, and I love the fact that they had mayo with the fries here. All right, well, let's get right to the drinking here. That's what this section is about. We started out with our flight of Chardonnays, and we had 4 Chardonnays, and 3 of them were California. One of them was from Burgundy, and we had Montrachet, which is the greatest white wine, the most expensive white wine from Burgundy, from a great vintage, 2002, Joseph Drouhin's Marque de Laguiche. And this wine was the wine of the night for a lot of tasters. I think 5 out of 12 people voted for it, including yours truly. Really exotic, kind of candy corn nuance, toasty oak, vanilla, candied lemon fruit to the bouquet, a lovely richness on the palate, texture of whole milk, still a lovely freshness and a long finish. Seemed to go on and on. Just a perfect balance of fruit, acidity, and minerality. Very complex and long. Killer. All right, the Kistler Chardonnay Hudson, Carneros 2007. This wine was still a bit young, kind of a lemon curd-like fruit with a smoky, musky kind of aromas, coming up with some lightly buttered toast nuance. Very complex bouquet, still big and tart on the palate with that lemon curd and green apple fruit coming through with a note of matchsticks there coming out of the finish, but not off-putting. The wine opened up for a little bit, but it was gone all too quickly. They had to remove it before they put the next course out, but most excellent. Next up, the Mount Eden Estate Chardonnay, one of the best Chardonnays made in California, coming from the Santa Cruz Mountains. This wine had that lovely fresh and bright lemon and green apple fruit also in the nose. Notes of kind of creme brulee, toasty oak spice, and mineral nuance showing there. Rich and quite full on the palate. This wine also a bit young, needed a little bit of time to open up, but wonderful concentration and depth of flavors. Just needs time. All right, most excellent also. And then the Marcassin Three Sisters Chardonnay from the Sonoma Coast. Wow. Not far off from that Montrachet in complexity, depth, and flavors, but seemed just a little more decadent, a little more fruity, and definitely a little weightier on the palate. A full array of creme brulee, vanilla bean, cool climate, that green apple and lemon candy citrus showing through, little anise spice. Very complex and intriguing there. Texture of heavy cream on the tongue. Seemed a bit over the top maybe with the alcohol, but this wine had a lot of everything else. Perfect balance. One of the greatest California Chardonnays that I have ever tasted. Killer juice. All right, flight 1, we did the old school wines first. 1970 Drouhin Echezeaux Grand Cru, one of the greatest old Burgundies that I've ever tasted. This bottle didn't quite quite measure up to the last one, which was killer. Took a few minutes to open up, had that hallmark kind of truffle, distinctly earthy nuance that you get from a great aged Burgundy, Sur Bois, raspberry, strawberry fruit. Still lively, but a little oxidization showing there, of course, because of the age. And really lovely, smooth, and silky texture, a long finish, the epitome of elegance, lovely spice and floral nuance. Most excellent stuff. We still have one bottle of this wine left. Where is it? There it is. All right. The Momessin Claude Tart 2003. Wow, very complex bouquet. This is a vintage that wines naturally got 15% alcohol in Burgundy, which never happens. That classic mint and spice that this vineyard offers up, really exotic, high glycerin content in this 2003. Made it appear to be maybe from the New World, but man, despite its over-the-top alcohol, this wine has incredible balance, and I think a long life ahead of it. If you can keep your hands off it, man, it is almost irresistible right now. One of the candidates for wine of the night, red cherry fruit, exotic spices, mint and herbs showing through the finish. Lovely freshness, though. Most excellent juice. Claude Dugat, Chambertin, Grand Cru. The wines just seem to get better and better here. Unbelievable showing for this wine. For the moment you put it in your nose in the glass, just didn't want to put it down. Just a much bigger than almost everything else on the table here in the red category, but still demonstrating elegance, finesse, and wonderful nuance. Like I said, a cornucopia of spice, floral and fruit on the nose, mint, oriental spice, black raspberry, black truffle nuance, and changing as this glass and evolving as it just opened up. Just left me speechless. Also won 5 out of the 12 top votes for wine of the night. Killer. All right, next up, the Domaine George Comte de Vogue Musigny. Let me just pinch myself, folks. 2006 vintage was the only detracting factor on this wine. Still a bit young, and this is the second time I've had this wine this year. We had it at the Great Wine Seminar. Lovely exotic nose, spices, black raspberry fruit, pretty floral nuance, really dramatic minerality. Also changing as this wine opened up. Lots of spice, a silky smooth texture, but still, you know, pretty tannic. This wine needs some time to come into its own, but most excellent juice. All right, the California wines are up next. And, you know, 2 wines from Kistler to start the showing. This is one of the hardest Pinot Noirs to find coming from California. You have to be on the mailing list to get Kistler Pinots. The first wine, the 2004 Occidental Station Cuvee Catherine. This is on the true Sonoma Coast, so really, you know, extreme farming here, really cold climate. Nice display of rhubarb and kind of wild strawberry fruit in the nose. Nice floral highlights, allspice, really complex. Lovely on the palate, too. Very smooth and silky. Excellent concentration. Drinking really nice right now, but enough, you know, structure here to last another decade. Most excellent juice. The 2008 Bodegas Highland Cuvée Elizabeth. One of the most sought-after Pinots coming from Kistler here. This is the coldest of all the single vineyard sites. Lovely sweet black cherry fruit, though, showing on the nose. Pretty floral nuance, exotic spice. Really concentrated and rich cinnamon. Some dark earth in there as well. A big and dark Pinot Noir on the palate, but really nicely balanced with a firm dose of acidity and tannin showing up on the finish. Still young, but you could just see the potential here. Most excellent juice also. And then the Hartford Arundel Vineyard, one of my favorite Pinot producers from California. Arundel is the oldest vineyard in the Russian River. It was planted by Warren Dutton in the early 70s. Very pretty bouquet here. Fresh cut flowers, allspice, excellent intensity, black cherry liqueur-like fruit. Really forward and seductive. Wow, wonderful intensity on the palate. Just layers of that cherry pie fruit coming through on the tongue. Exotic spices, long finish, wonderful freshness and balance. Most excellent plus. All right, the Costa Brown Pinot is next. This is their Russian River bottling. To me, this is one of the most overrated Pinot Noir producers in California. And the last 2 wines in this flight really disappointed and were not, you know, to me, in the same class as the other wines. And, you know, nice wine, though. I can't say it was bad wine. Lovely forward and appealing bouquet, cinnamon spice, lovely, you know, black cherry fruit, cola, almost kind of a candied nose to the fruit, and a lovely silky texture on the tongue, lovely fruit and that cola spice showing on the finish. Excellent Pinot Noir, but like I said, not in the class of most excellent and killer like almost everything else on the table. And then the Red Car Sonoma Coast, I think that was just thrown in there as an extra because, you know, a nice little wine again. Very pretty, floral spice, red cherry, raspberry, really nice forward, smooth, seductive on the palate. And it's just a little bit kind of one-dimensional crowd pleaser. Very good stuff, though. And then some extra wine started coming out. Can you believe it, folks? William & Salem Chardonnay Drake 2007. This wine would have been great with the first flight. I don't know why it came out at the end of the night with the sauternes almost. And really nice concentration here. Lovely Asian pear, white peach, toasty oak, nutty kind of nuance to the nose. A bit restrained on the palate, fairly Burgundian in style. This wine also needs a bit of time. The 390s 2007 Chardonnay is showing very young in this tasting. And then 2 vintages of Chateau Yquem. Wow, 1996 and 2003. And looking at these wines, you might think they were poured in the wrong place. Was the 96 lighter than the 2003? Yes, it was. And these were served out of half bottle, so maybe a little more evolved. Lovely candy, pineapple, citrus fruit, vanilla cream, creme brulee, lovely honey character. Really lovely balance in the 1996 and nice concentration. Lovely freshness there. The 2003, on the other hand, was, man, it was just delicious. Lovely creme brulee, more honey character, more apricot and peach there, and thick and viscous on the palate. This was that really hot year. That lovely honey nuance from the botrytis showing through, vanilla spice, and most excellent juice. I edged it out with 2003 on this one, but there was a real split crowd with these 2 wines. And hey, just for your benefit, we're including all the wines that we have available from these producers in the store on this offering. Check it out. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.